situation here for the price of Bitcoin. How is everybody doing? Let's go, legends. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let's go. Let's turn the music down because yesterday it was a little bit loud, a little bit disturbing. Let's say hello to the beautiful community right away, and we'll go through the comment section and then go through the price of Bitcoin. We are getting a little bit of a dump right now. We did have Fed Chair Powell's speech, okay, and not much really going on. They did mention Bitcoin at some stage, but the price is dumping. So this dump is kind of expected, kind of a little bit of expected dump based on the technical analysis. I'm just going to go and say hello to the beautiful community. We'll be talking about the different scenarios that could happen for Bitcoin. You know, it is still very, very bullish mid time frame. Small little pullback, kind of expected. Now it's when it's getting very interesting, okay? Because we're going to talk about some scenarios, some levels on the lower time frame, so you can actually see, you know, how the probabilities change, right? But you know, I was really kind of expecting the price to at least get down beneath these lows based on an ABC flat correction, or maybe this is the end of a double zigzag, which is very, very possible. We'll go in detail on the several scenarios, and this dump is going to tell us all of the information, because we need this dump, if it is going to be bearish, to continue to the downside. However, we are going to be hitting some major support levels in this zone, which we could actually get a pretty nice bounce. Something that we talked about yesterday. Not interested, me personally, in jumping into the first dip long here, because it would still be a shallow pullback. I want to see kind of a sign of strength and a correction, and this would be very, very interesting, right, as we mentioned on yesterday's live stream. So a little bit dark here. I've been trying to get some light here on the camera, but I think nobody is interested in looking at my face. So we're just going to go through the technical analysis after saying hello to the beautiful community and smashing up that like button, guys. Let's go. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. If the volume's a little bit low, it should be relatively okay. All right, so let's go right away and say hello to the beautiful community, and then go straight away on the different possibilities that could happen for Bitcoin. I've been leaning a little bit more, locally a bit bearish, right? Just for a move of a few $1,000s. I do see all-time high happening in the next 1 to 2 weeks, which will be explained throughout the live stream, okay? Let's go right away. Say hello, Mustafa. Hello, how are you doing, my brother? Yes, sir, Andy. About to cook some TA today. Staffer1, you damn right, okay? The proper technical analysis, level to level, explaining that all-time high looks imminent, but also some dips also look pretty good, right? Just like this dip that we are getting now in the last hour, right? Claiming those lows. Not in a rush for a new long, guys. I've actually been trying to short this range. It's just been very, very boring. Now the question is, will we get a nice reversal bounce, or will we continue dropping? That is the main question right now, okay? So I don't want to, just suddenly go in here in this range, even though there's a lot of support. It doesn't matter. I'm going to explain what I need to see so I can jump into a new, fresh, long position, okay, with higher probability, right? Because what we have right now is that we have support. Yes, we have support. But which is the one that is going to hold? If we are taking this as an impulsive move to the upside, it is very rare to get shallow pullbacks, okay? Shallow pullbacks and big continuation to the upside is very rare. So you need to understand that getting into shallow pullbacks is risky, right? It is kind of risky, because you realize that the price could really go down to the 7/8 Fibonacci, right? And if you are long in here with very poor risk management, then you like eating up all of the dip. Price is going against you, right? If you're not having a stop loss beneath the wick low or whatever, and you're not managing risk, yeah, this could go down to the 382 50% Fibonacci with ease, right? Which is what usually generally happens, right? To get into these minimum retracement zones when you get a impulsive move to the upside. And this is if we do count this as an impulse, right? There is a way of counting this as an impulse, but there's also a way of counting this as a double zigzag. If there is a double zigzag here, that is not good. If we move up in a three-wave structure, double zigzag in this case, we have the risk of moving down. And there is a bearish case scenario that I will talk through here in this live stream, okay? However, we want to long the lows and short the highs preferably, guys. All right, this shallow pullback for a long, it can play out, but it is risky. This is why I'm personally not longing for the moment here, already in some longs. I will get into a day trade long once I see this kind of price action that I am going to explain in this live stream, okay? So make sure to bear with me, guys. We look for high probability trades because we want to have a good P&L at the end of the month. We want to have a good track record, right? We do not need to get into every single trade, because that is, you have higher probability in losing. The more you trade, the less you trade and get into better trades, you will end up having a great result at the end of the month. And I can prove that, okay? And that's what you want to do as well, right? You want to be a winner. You don't want to be a guy that trades 5 times a day if 3 of them are going to hit stop loss, right? So it's all about the consistency and getting into the highest probability trade setups. Let's go. Staffer1, I did, don't worry. I already did, bro. You didn't even do it. What's going on? Devil in the house. Is he in the house? Is he around? Probably he is. He's probably around. Jerome, thanks for the short setup, 𝗬𝗍𝘆. 𝗬𝗍𝘆 the master. 𝗬𝗍𝘆 is an absolute legend, okay? Always giving scenarios and possibilities and setups in the Discord, guys. And remember that you do have the first link down below. This is a direct message, okay, to me, all right, where you can get that summer discount. Today is the last day, guys, okay, for the Discord. And you will also get access to the signals, all right? The signals channel in the Telegram. Make sure to reach me out on the first link. You got the first link. Refresh the page because I just put this. This is the instant direct message to me, guys, all right? Let's go. Thinking of 105.1K point of control. Yes, that is strong support, but I'm going to explain how we are going to identify the signs of strength looking at the lower time frame, right? Lower time frame is what we like very, very much, okay, to analyze how can we identify that sign of strength, and we'll be going through that in detail, okay? Okay, volume should be A-okay, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know down below. Legend Azad, much love to you. Crypto algorithm, I managed to short it at 107K. I hope this plays out for me. Already stop loss at break even. Very nice indeed. I'm also in a short. It's more of a swing short. Stop loss is quite far away. I'm just giving the chance for the price to correct a few $1,000s. Still in that short position. Sir, thank you. You have made a few bucks on 2 trades shorting since yesterday. Thank you. Much love, my man. What's up, Mark M? Okay, let's go right away. Hello to everybody. Let's analyze the different scenarios that could happen. Shall we talk about the most bullish case scenario, or shall we just talk about the most bearish one and then to the bullish one? You know, the bullish one, price needs to bottom out very soon, okay? Maybe another $1,000 of a drop, potentially. We're going to talk about the ABC flat scenario, right? I think many people are talking about this scenario, but we're going to go in detail on what we need to see, all right, to get that entry trigger for the trade. I'm not long in this pullback, guys, because I don't know if we are going to find support, okay? Why would you long suddenly, right, into support while the price is dropping, right? That's a question you need to do, right? We can see here how I like to get into winning trades, guys. I like to win trades, not suddenly get into a trade and hope for the reversal. But yeah, here we have the point of control, at least on Bybit. Maybe it differs a little bit on some exchanges. Okay, we do have the bullish case scenario, which is the finished corrective structure. This is one that we mentioned yesterday, and we do get that ABC flat. For the moment, this was kind of the most likely scenario. Yesterday, we were talking about how likely it was that we are looking for a pullback, and we're looking for a rejection in this zone throughout the streams in the last few days. For the moment, we're getting the pullback. We're finally dipping down below the lows of the range that we formed throughout last week. Why was this highly likely that we were going to get some kind of a pullback from this zone? Well, first of all, we were hitting the value area high. Value area high of the range. That is resistance. We like it or not, okay? It is resistance. Value area high of the range. We did move up, okay, since the low created at $98,000 in a kind of an impulsive move with very shallow pullbacks on the way up, okay? So that is something that we need to understand when we talk about Elliott wave theory. We moved up, nice little leg up, ABC flat that I did identify with 𝗬𝗍𝘆. We got into a call and we said, you know, this has to be the local low. Very, 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 very good. You know, me and 𝗬𝗍𝘆 in a call when we talk about the possible trading setups. It's insane, right? Some, you know, two of us with a lot of experience, we just identified that this was likely going to be a higher low, right? And we're going to get that third leg to the upside, regardless if it's going to be a C or a third wave, right? In this case, we're labeling it as a third wave, as we did get another push to the upside. It would be rare for this zone to just suddenly climb to the upside. Of course, it is possible, but it would be very, very rare, very, very rare to not get a pullback after a 5-wave structure, at least, right? Or a double zigzag, right? If you're looking at this to be the end, to just continue to the upside from here, right? Without taking out these lows. Now, yeah, there is that possibility that we do find support. This can be labeled as an ABC flat. I want to look at this on the lower time frame, right? Because in a C wave, you want to see a kind of a 5-wave structure, and I'm not too sure about that, okay? Of course, 5-minute elliott wave theory, you can go absolutely bananas with all of this because there's lots of overlap. It would be very, very difficult here to label a 5-wave structure. Of course, you can eventually label a 5-waver of some kind, but we are not going to go into detail on these little corrective moves. Okay, you have your potential wave 1 over here. Yeah, I would say it's unfinished structure in my opinion. There is the risk, of course, of the double 1-2, and this is your third wave getting developed, the highest amount of volume. Yeah, not going to go too much into detail on this price action to the downside. Preferably where you have the highest volume, it either ends a move or you are building up your third wave. If you are building up your third wave, then preferably we are seeing here a multiple 1-2 setup, and the price continues to the downside. Okay. Yeah, very, very, very tricky, very boring, very overlapping. Of course, 5-minute time frame is just not the ideal, especially when you're in a big fat range with lots of overlap. So no, for me, preferably we do continue to the downside, guys. I have to say, preferably we do continue to the downside. Yeah, as this could be an expanding C wave, or it could be the start of a larger move to the downside. It's very, very tricky for me right now. You need to ask your question, okay? Yes, you can absolutely bet that this is an ABC flat and that you are going to pump from here. But as we do have many bearish local scenarios that is actually taking the price to lower levels, even down to the value area low, it is risky, guys. It is risky. If the price were to be extremely bullish, starting a new wave, having a confirmation that this is the low, it's very symmetrical, you got a perfect ABC zigzag, and you have a new fresh 5-wave structure to the upside, and it does pull back to the 50% value area low, then this would be the ideal scenario. I'll be like, guys, it's just really worth it to get into the long here if you want to catch the low. Super worth it if you get this kind of pullback that it is retracing to the 50% golden pocket, right, from the low to the high. Then it's like, come on, 3-wave structure down. It's very corrective and very wedgy. Let's try and catch the low here, give a bit of room for stop loss and target all-time highs. This, I would say, is a great long position. It's just worth getting in. Structure is good, the retracement is good, you got a 5-wave impulse, you got a nice zigzag coming down to at least the 50% Fibonacci. Then I'm like, we need to take the shot. But, however, this is still a shallow pullback, and we still have a complex corrective wave continuation here. Many, many options here in continuing the range, guys. And if we have too many options of continuing the range, getting into a long position on a shallow pullback, which is literally hitting the 236 Fibonacci from the low to this high, we're going to take this high here, guys, because this has to be an ABC flat. I wouldn't count this as the 5th wave. You could, you technically could, it just doesn't look good. This is why I don't have it on the chart. I don't have it on the options. It just doesn't look great. So we're labeling this as an ABC flat. As we label this as an ABC flat, yeah, we shouldn't go much lower, okay? Because an expanding flat, you usually get to the 1.618. It can hit the 2-to-1 extension. Let me just explain this in detail. With the Fibonacci extension tool here at the left, it's the second tab on the Fibonacci tools. We get the A wave and the B wave, right? And your expanding flat target is the 1.618 extension. It is right over here, right? That's the most common, right, flat target when you take the A wave and the B wave. 2-to-1 is, you also see it being hit in an expanding flat, okay? So that is in between 105.4 and 104.6. If this is going to be an ABC flat, okay, and the 2-to-1 is hitting the 382 Fibonacci almost just by a couple of $100, this would be the ideal area if it is going to see a bounce and a first sign of strength. longing the 236 Fibonacci on this retracement of this movement up, it's a very shallow pullback, very, very shallow. You are at risk of longing and the price, still dropping down another $1,000, $2,000. So you realize it's just not a high probability and it's not the best option, guys. As it is not the best option, what do I need to see, right? How can I get into this high probability trade, guys? You always need to ask this question when we're getting into some trading setups, right? If this is risky, because it's a shallow pullback from this movement up to get into a long, right? And we have bearish options that is actually taking us to much lower levels, 103, 102. What option do I need to get into the long? So I am confident that this trade will actually go in profit. Now, I know a lot of people would just say, I'm going to long here, I'm going to add to the position here, and I'm going to add to the position. I got my stop loss down here. At some point it's going to reverse. There will be a moment that your stop loss will be hit, and then you've risked too much, right? Too much of a wide stop loss that is not giving you that nice risk to reward, right? Your risk to reward is very, very poor here. So it's not that option here for me. For this range, yes, for the short, just realizing the high probability in getting the pullback. For me, yeah, shorting here, adding 1% is fine because, I realize the pullback is extremely likely, right? This is why I'm in that short. But for the long position here and add to longs here, we have risk, shallow pullback, and there is a bearish case scenario that can take out 98K. It can take out 98K. This is the area that I'm going full swing long. Full swing long, just like I went full swing long here, okay? Taken significant amount of profit of that long, okay, as well in a short in this zone. But I don't mind getting stopped out from the rest of this long position. Profits have been taken. So I'll just be happy for the opportunity to get into a epic swing long position as we do lose 98K. I'm ready for 97, 96. I can manage my risk management and I know what I'm looking for here, okay? Ultimately, all-time high is highly likely in the coming weeks, regardless if we take out the lows or not, okay? So I do realize that we could bounce in this zone. I do realize that we could take the low. As I do realize the two options that, both of them have a significant probability, okay? They both have some interesting probabilities. I do not want a long this shallow pullback, okay? So let's just explain how we can identify that long position, okay? So first of all, we are going to be zooming in on the lower time frame. If this is going to be the case, I'm going to explain exactly what we need to see because I know a lot of you must be following a lot of content out there. I did see this in a few places. Okay, ABC flat, impulsive move. Okay, let's all long together, right? And we're going to hit all-time high. This is bullish. We're all going to make money. And then the price comes down. This is not good, guys. Not good. There's definitely that option of coming down here. And that is most importantly as a trader, what you need to understand. So it's, I'm going to leave it in a simple way here. What we need to see is a significant bounce. A significant bounce because right now, maybe this is not an ABC flat and we are starting an impulse. We got a possible double 1-2 and your third wave is getting developed. It's getting developed, right? Third waves can be very, very aggressive. We start going to 105, 104, and I thought this was going to be an ABC flat. I thought that this should be bullish. I thought that the point of control of the range should maintain our support. Well, it didn't. So now you're trapped in a long position and you're hoping for a reversal at some point. So yeah, it can definitely bounce from here, guys. It is just risky. How you can get into this higher probability trading setup, let me explain. If this is going to be an ABC flat, I need the price action to prove me that it is very likely going to be an ABC flat, okay? What do I need to see? I need to see a significant bounce, okay? Let me go right away through let me go right away through the support that there is here, guys, because it is the point of control of this range, as you can see, right? It is the point of control. We do have the anchored VWAP, which is very interesting as well, from the ultimate low of the range at 98k. That's currently where we are at. We could get a little bit of a reaction here. We're coming into this higher time frame, right? Order block, right, from the 4 hourly, right? We've got a nice little range and a naked point of control, which is coming into the 105k zone. It is support. There is support in this region that could get that bounce, okay, and can confirm a possible ABC flat. It is support, guys. It all depends on how aggressive you are, how are you managing your risk. I do not like it to get into the long. I realize we can bounce, but for me, it's not the best, highest probability long position. So what do I need to see? We're going into detail here, just for a nice explanation. Is anchored VWAP getting that little reaction here, as we can see. It is a simple impulsive move to the upside, right? And if we do analyze the structure that we have developed in the last few days, right, since a couple of days here from Monday, we can see how obviously the price action is moving down, right? And we are just, for all of the bulls, we are hoping that we are going to get some support at some point and start getting an interesting push to the upside. So as we do see this, I like to see the last push down. The last push down, which has the most amount of volume, I need to see if it is going to be the end or not. How will I realize that this can be the end, right? Well, if we do claim the start of the movement down, I will no longer label this as a potential wave 1, 2, 1 and 2. This would have to be some kind of a contracting diagonal or expanding one. Okay, we're not going to go too much into detail. Lots of mini waves here, but as you can see, the symmetry 1, 2, 1, 2, possibly developing a third wave. Now, if we are not developing this third wave, right, what we could see, this could also be a contracting. Hang on a minute, we could actually let me just double check here. Yeah, if it is going to be a contracting diagonal, which can be the case, it can be the case here. Just about your fifth wave, if this is going to be a contracting diagonal to the downside, to confirm a C wave, okay, to confirm this possible C wave here, it is just about to get invalidated, okay? How is it getting invalidated? How is it just about to get invalidated if we're counting this as a contracting diagonal? Well, your wave 5, okay, can overshoot the trend line of your wave 2 and 3. However, wave 5 cannot be longer than your wave 3, okay, in a contracting diagonal. And we are just about to scratch the 1-to-1. So yeah, if it needs to bounce in a contracting diagonal with your wave 5, shooting out of the support trend line, it needs to hold right now where we have the anchored VWAP and start getting some, bullish momentum to the upside. If you cross the 1-to-1, we are no longer looking at this as a contracting diagonal, okay? So if it is going to be bullish, it needs to hold right now where it is. So, what would be a confirmation here for this to be the ABC flat end? Well, as soon as you get very close to this last lower high and you form a bounce, okay, and on the lower time frame, it might be a little bit choppy, it might be not easy to see, but overall we want to see some kind of a increase, right, to the upside in a nice bullish structure, 5-wave structure preferably, right, not too choppy, right, but this is 5-minute, 15-minute time frame, okay, can be a little bit difficult to identify that impulsive move, but just by claiming this last lower high could be a good sign, okay, which is sitting at 107.2k almost, right? So if you do get that momentum to the upside, okay, in that 5-wave move, the pullback is going to be your confirmation, okay? This is the area that I would jump into a day trade long position. Might be a small little swing trade, but I would be targeting very likely the highs at 108.8k, okay? at least this target. Of course, your target 1 would be the local highs. That's when you would protect position with your stop loss if you enter the retracement here. But, you know, this would be your target 1. But I do think that eventually, as you're expecting a 3-wave move up, and either an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would be targeting the highs of the range, because the lows of the range of the last week, okay, this is the range, lows of the range have just been claimed today, and you would expect if the lows of the range gets a nice move to the upside and gets back inside of the range, what you would want to see is the highs of the range to be reclaimed again. This is very, very common, guys. It is very, very common to see where it looks like you're getting a breakdown, okay, and it's finally getting a recovery. And, you know, there is the risky way, which is this is going to hold. I'm jumping into a long. You either have tight risk management that you could get stopped out, or you getting a little bit more of a stop loss, less risk management, but you're taking the chance that the 105K zone is going to hold. There is that option of bouncing in this zone, guys, I have to say, okay? However, I like to play the highest probability trade. The highest probability trade. And instead of catching the falling knife into support, which we are just hoping that the support can bounce, as we do have many bearish options, I want a confirmation. Confirmation of strength, all right? And this would be the confirmation of strength. Get back inside of the zone. Move up to hit the last lower high of the drop. Confirmation that this movement down looks no longer impulsive. It's a sign of weakness of the bears. You're claiming the downtrend, last lower high, breaking the local structure. You're moving up in a 5-wave move to the upside. The retracement is the golden ticket here, okay? Because remember what I say on many streams, the price action moves in either 3 waves or 5 waves, okay? Price action always moves in 3 or 5 waves, always. There's no 1 waver, there's no 9 waver, there's no 7 waver. It's either 3 or 5. Of course, inside of these waves, you can have very, very complex reading of the waves, okay? Inside of the waves, they're very, very complex, right? And you might think there's 5 waves here, there's 7. Well, this is why you can have double zigzag, triple zigzags. You know, it does get more complex eventually. This is why sometimes it's easier to zoom out to the 30-minute, 1-hour time frame and just realize the symmetry of the price action instead of reading all of this noise, right? Which is just a lot of noise and very, very hard to read. So if we were to get that sign of strength, claim the last lower high that we have from today, this could be a confirmation of an ABC, okay? ABC flat. You're claiming the last lower high, you're getting back inside of the range, and as you've swept up the lows of the range of last week, it is extremely common to get back to the highs of the range, okay? And if you do get that nice movement to the upside, right? It might be very wavy, you might got some complex corrections here, but ultimately form a 5-wave structure to the upside, all right? And then the correction is your golden ticket. Your golden ticket to get that next wave to the upside. We're looking at least for a 3-wave move up, all right? And this would very likely, you know, head up to the highs of the range. This one has a minimum target, okay? This one has a minimum target, I would say. You want it to protect position. You don't want to see the price double topping here and then not protecting position, okay? Because this could actually go down to lower levels, all right? You could see this as an impulse, as a contracting diagonal. And of course, in a contracting diagonal here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, important that you don't go lower here because you need to maintain this 5th wave smaller than the 3rd wave down, which is just about to get invalidated. This could still be an ABC. And then the price drops down, right? This is your wave 1, wave 2, and this is your wave 3. And that will be a surprise for many, right? So 3-wave structure needs that continuation to the upside. Small little correction back up for a 5th wave. It doesn't really matter. You want to see continuation to the upside. The first high can if you lose it or you double top, you want to be protected if you are in that long position, guys. It's all about protecting capital as well. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I see here. The anchored VWAP from the lows of the range acting as support at the moment. Let me know any aggressive long traders here. I want to see that sign of strength. There's no rush, guys. I won't catch the low, but I will catch the confirmation, all right, for the next leg up. Much better, much safer, higher probability. And then you're looking for that third wave to the upside, right? Ultimately to claim the highs of the impulse and potentially even 108.8K. Okay, so that's a little bit what I'm looking at here. Right now, yeah, if you know, we got a lot of resistance, a lot of support. You know, you are betting right now in the anchored VWAP, the point of control, this order block right over here on the higher time frame. You know, naked point of control, which is, you know, hasn't been hit yet. Hasn't been quite hit at the moment. Let me just double check that naked point of control, which is, yeah, slightly lower. So, yeah, that's a little bit of what we're looking at here, guys. Okay, so, you know, it is a little bit risky. It is risky to get into a long just because we have some bearish case scenarios, guys. And the bearish case scenarios that we have look very interesting. You know, I like them. I like some local bearish case scenarios that actually can bring the price to lower levels. This is what happens right now when we have several options, right? I can be completely wrong in the bearish case scenarios. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And the price actually sees a sign of strength here and claims the highs at 108.8K. It looks very attractive. Don't get me wrong. This scenario, which is that ABC flat, okay, to get a leg to the upside, you know, I would say at least to claim this high, because there are some other bearish options. This movement up to the upside looks incredibly attractive, very, very attractive. But to get up here, guys, to possibly get up to 108.8K, which is the highs of the range, it would be unlikely that the price action does this, boom, right? It just forms massive candles in the next coming hours and just claims 108.8 with any type of pullback. So most commonly you would get up there like something like this, right? You would form a little bit of a three-wave move at least, okay? So let's get that first wave to the upside, right? I'm just explaining what I want to see here, guys. So I can see the sign of strength and I can get into that nice high probability trading setup, which would give me a move of a couple of $1,000 at least potentially. It's just a high probability trade setup, okay? Now, we got the leg down. We're sweeping up the lows of the range of last week. It's been incredibly boring in between 106 and 108. Very, very boring range. We're probably just going to, you know, continue here with low volatility. Ultimately, the explosion to all-time high, as the title says, you know, is coming, right? It's just a matter of time. It is coming, and the range could continue. What other options do we have for the range to continue? Well, this is what happens when you are in a complex corrective range. We have many, many different examples. This was a complex correction, right? We knew that this was likely going to be corrective and we were going to get that movement to the upside to all-time high. Another large complex correction that we had here back in 2024. Very, very long, very overlappy, very complex, you know, triangle right over here, sideways correction that ultimately ended up in moving up, right? So this is what we're facing at the moment, just a sideways complex correction, which is a matter of time that it does hit all-time high. Claiming the lows here at 98K or not claiming the lows, highest probability is finally to get that push to the upside, okay? And not break down successfully, right? This is very, very low probability, very, very low probability that this does happen. So what other options do we see here, right? I'm happy to hold longs from here. I got a bigger long position from here. It just is worth to hold, sorry, this long from here. I got a couple of longs from here. It's worth it to, you know, to hold to all-time high. This is where I would take the profits from another trade that I'm in. I would only be happy if I get stopped out at break even to get into a bigger long position in this zone. Okay, I would just be happy to get into a bigger long position. Some profits have been taken of this long, so it doesn't really matter. So holding most of the larger positions in long, guys. Okay, most of the positions are long. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you are long in here, the anchored VWAP and the point of control of the range, which is literally almost being hit. You know, you got the high volume mountain here, just about, yeah, you're literally at the highs of the mountain of the high volume. So, you know, this is very interesting support. There's no doubt about it. Very, very interesting support for a bounce, guys. So I'm just going to be a little bit conservative and wait for that first bounce. Okay, wait for that first bounce. It looks very, very interesting to see that that we could take out 108.8k. You know, there is a couple of options. I'm going to go through those options right now, guys, and explain it a little bit in detail. How, you know, let's talk about the bullish case, because we do have a kind of a 5-wave move to the upside. This could be an ABC flat, right? Nice impulsive move. You can count very nicely a 5-wave move that we had just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, the bullish case scenario, you know, looks very interesting. There's lots of support, point of control of the range, anchored VWAP, naked point of control from this order block. There's just a lot of support here. So let's talk about the several different bullish options, which most of them are taking out 108.8k, right? There is an option that does not take out all-time high. Okay, there is an option that does not take out all-time high. You just sweep up the highs again and you come down, and that would be just a continuation of this corrective structure. Okay, so I will go through that now in the next coming minutes. Let's just say hello to the beautiful community. Mark Dutch is in the house. Yes, we got also Crypto Big Brains, Aditya, much love, legends. Let's go. Bro, you're doing unnecessary analysis. Go higher time frame. At these 5-minute time frames, it is pure gambling. No, it is not. If you are going to stay long enough here, you will realize that, you know, depending on your trading style, right? I'm going more into swing trading style, trades that do last several days. But I know a lot of people want to come in here to look for scalps day trades, which is the next local opportunity. I would say, guys, I'm long from here. You know, good luck with that, right? When should I long, right? Or should I short? I need to give the options for people to get into a long position just to take advantage of this possible move that could happen. So it's not unnecessary. I know my higher time frames backwards, okay? I know the higher time frame. I know this range is bullish. All-time high is expected. So we need to analyze what's happening in this small little range, right? It's not unnecessary, my man, okay? Of course it's very necessary. I want to give the possible next option to my community, right? Which is eventually seeing that sign of strength. You know, there is another wave that you can take, you know, that you can take advantage here, all right? Getting into this support, I always say that there is a little bit of risk. There is a bit of risk because we have some bearish options. We do have some bearish options, but we are at support, right? Anchored VWAP from the lows. We have the ABC flat here, possibility. You might have seen this in a few places. I think lots of people are looking at this right now. ABC flat, because you do have a 5-wave impulsive move here. You're at support. You know, you definitely can take that option, guys. You know, I'm just a little bit concerned here with stop loss, right? Just a little bit concerned of stop loss. You know, risk management is my speciality, okay? Not technical analysis. I'm not the greatest at technical analysis, but I'm very good in risk management and taking the decisions with good risk, okay? So I understand that this is support, and I understand the bounce here could be pretty nice. And we could actually take out 108.8k from here. It is definitely an option. There is that option. So I don't know why unnecessary analysis. Very necessary, my man. I know the higher time frame. All-time high is coming, my man. If we are looking at higher time frame, right? Higher time frame is, yeah, this is a corrective move, and all-time high, you know, will be hit, right? We're forming a bull flag right there, okay? And we're going to break out and hit all-time high at some point, right? There you go. There's the higher time frame analysis. We want to be a little bit more specific. We want to be different from the herd out there, from your favorite crypto, YouTuber, and go a little bit more specific and explain, where the opportunities lie and where the highest opportunity lies as well. Okay, so you can take advantage and make a little bit of money, right? That's the overall idea. No financial advice. The future is now. Swing trades, please. Why exchanges like Binance is dumping crypto? I have no idea. My stop loss is at VWAP. Is that for a long or for the short? Below the anchored VWAP is, without a doubt, an option. As explained, if this is going to be an ABC flat going through the lower time frame, I know someone didn't like the lower time frame analysis. If this is going to be a 5-wave structure, in an ABC flat, your C wave needs to be 5 waves. The only option here, just going quickly, guys, would be that that contracting diagonal, right, from your highs to this high right there, which is just about contracting, and your 5th wave is not longer than your 3rd wave, just by a hair, almost touching the 1-to-1. It's still good. It has to bounce from here if we are labeling this an ABC flat. It has to, if we are looking at this as a potential contracting diagonal. You cannot go slightly lower from here, then it would be invalidated. So maybe it is going to bounce out the anchored VWAP. Not the kind of trade that I want to get in, just because I have many different local bearish options on my analysis. And of course, if this, I'm not going to go through it again, guys. I think it was pretty clear on the explanation. You move up in a 5-wave structure, you claim the last lower high. This could be the confirmation already. And most commonly in a range, if you sweep up the lows of the range, then you're looking for the highs to be claimed with high probability, right? You got lots of bears coming in here on the drop, or maybe lots of longs, right? It all depends on the order flow as well, right? If you do get a lot of long positions entering here on this movement down, which is it's not the case. Got quite a lot of shorts entering here, at least on Bybit. Not too many longs not too many longs entering the market. Right over here, quite a bit of shorts. So not too many longs entering, which means there could be a chance of bouncing. If there were to be lots of longs entering here, all right, and we do get local bearish CVD divergence, then I would say there's a high chance of still continuing to the downside. So we're going to talk about the different options. For me, guys, if this is going to be an ABC flat, this support is not enough. I need to see that 5-waver correction. Then I'll jump into the trade. I want to see the first sign of strength. Leg up in a 5-wave structure, claim the last lower high, correction. I'm jumping in between the 50%, 7/8 Fibonacci for this leg, guys. High probability trade. This is a high probability trade setup. And we want to trade high probability trades, right? Someone was saying here lower time frame is gambling. So I can tell you that this would be extreme high probability. If we get a leg up to claim the last lower high in a correction, this is not gambling, my friend. You have the odds are on you. The odds are on you to get this leg up. Okay, odds are very high, very high, 70%, give or take. We ain't going to talk about percentage because we don't know, but it's higher probability. Okay, so what is gambling is a little bit, okay, you can manage risk, is longing right now. Okay, bounce could happen, bounce could not happen. Local trend is down, and we have several options for the bearish case. Let me just go quickly through the bearish options, which are the ones that we did talk about yesterday, and that the range is not finished. The range is not finished, and there is one very bearish case that actually takes out 98K. Right now, with this 5-wave move, this possible 5-wave move, there is a way in counting this as a 3-waver, because you got 3-wave up, small shallow correction, not my favorite, and then another 3-wave move up, a double zigzag. You got a zigzag here and a wave W, an ABC, a shallow wave X, and a wave Y. This might sound Chinese right now, but there is that possible option. The reason why is because you do have, okay, many peaks here, right? You got 1 peak, 2 peaks, 3, and 4. If you do get 4 peaks, okay, it's basically a 7 waver, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, you can only count a double zigzag or a flat. There's no other options. This would be the flat. This is your C wave in that ABC flat. Then you absolutely pump, right? Or you have a double zigzag. There's no other options. As I do realize that we have that option of a double zigzag, yeah, things could really, you know, things could really go to lower prices here, right? So let's talk about that scenario. You know, it's been a scenario that we have mentioned throughout the last couple of weeks since we were analyzing here. This scenario is the option, okay, which is still a large WXY. We were talking about this scenario ever since we were trading inside of this zone. We talked about the move down, the move up, and now possibly another move down, all right? If you are a legit long follower, you do know that we talked about this scenario when we were in the triangle, basically, right? When we were inside of the triangle, we realized that we could come down, potentially claim the lows, and then get a leg to the upside or form a triangle, right? 2 options here. Ultimately, the highest probability option was taking out 106.5, which is the option that happened. So, you know, I'm still leaning on this scenario. You know, this still has, for me, kind of the highest probability. You know, it's been having the highest probability since we formed this high, realizing that this could be the end, and this is what we're looking at. This is why I entered these long positions down here, okay? On the Telegram, you know, still in some of those longs, taking profit. So, I mean, this was the opportunity. This was the swing trade opportunity. Somebody's asking me about a swing trade opportunity. I have to say, I cannot give you that swing trade opportunity at the moment at this level, okay? At this level, there is no swing long opportunity. For a swing short, I mean, yeah, we're still kind of a little bit in that range. Swing long would have been double top from here, right? Yeah, I've got a very, very poor average entry at 106.8k on the short. Also looking for a swing short. It's just going to be a few days. I am looking for slightly lower, potentially. Still holding the longs, realizing the bullishness. But this is not a great swing long area. It's not a great swing long area just because we have the risk of the range continuing. I'll tell you what level is a good swing long opportunity, but we maybe not going to get down there. There is the option, which is this one, which, you know, can be a running flat, or it can be an expanding flat as well. It actually takes out the lows here of the start of the B wave. There is that potential of coming down there, but there is so many different options that we might not get this option. Of course, this option is the best one for a swing long, because this area beneath 98k, you know, is going to be the best option to get into a swing long position. You got a massive higher time frame order block here, naked point of controls in this range of 97, 96k, high volume node as well from the range that we did have back here. Okay, there's a big, massive high volume node from this range between Q4 and Q1 of 2025. $97,000 with the order block, okay, and then with the complex Elliott wave theory sideways corrective move, which is finishing your Y wave in the flat. Originally talked about, you know, almost 2 weeks ago, but we possibly still in the, you know, initial stages of the C wave. It's taken over a week to get this leg to the upside, right? 22nd of June, yeah, 2 weeks, guys, to get only this leg up, right? And we talked about this, you know, this is why originally we got into that long position. Okay, nice long position here, still holding some of that long position here. I was very vocal on that in the signals channel, but it's been 2 weeks right now, and they're like, what's the next trade? What's the next big trade? It's just, we've been very boring in this zone. It's just been a very, very boring last, 7-8 days in this area of resistance. So let's just talk about the the different possibilities here. This would be the most epic swing long position, guys. If we did manage to sweep up these lows of the range, forming these lower highs, oh my, the amount of liquidity that will be built here from shorts, it would be awesome, right? I'm happy for the price to go to all-time high. Longs will be banging, right, from 98, 99K zone. But there is an option, and it might happen. Just stay cautious with the longs. I mean, this is not saying that it's going to happen, but this would be the best opportunity area. 98 to 94K, it is going to be the best area for a swing long. We need a bit of support. We need a bit of a bounce. Get back in, back above this low. Then, there's going to be time to long here. There will be time to long once we see some proof of support. This option might not happen, guys. That option might not happen, right? So, as mentioned, the new information that we do get on the chart is crucial. If we get a pump in the next coming hours to claim this last lower high that we have formed from today, I will no longer see this as a bearish move, like either a double 1-2 forming the third wave. There always is an option for the bears eventually, right? Which would be that contracting diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. You get a leg up here, and then you get the movement down. This has been your wave 1, your wave 2, and then your wave 3 is getting developed here very aggressively. This is definitely still an option. So I can't say, only this trading setup is nice to get into the second wave, regardless if it's going to be a B wave or a third wave, because this is how you manage risk. This is how, I'm in the third wave. Price could do whatever here. I'm protected. It could either continue up or, or maybe it's this. Then you stopped out. It's not the trade that you assumed was going to happen to take out the highs, but you're defensive, right? The trades also need to get stopped out at break even, and you need to protect your capital. It's most important to protect capital, not only making gains. So the decisions are very, very important. Much love, 𝗞𝗔, my man. How are you doing, my brother? Sexy legs, my goodness, we're only talking porn here in the comment section. What's going on? Jerome, behave. 𝗬𝗫𝗂𝗿, my man. 𝗞𝗔, you've changed your name. I can't believe it. 𝗞𝗔 has been going for years. Devil, my man, much love. Here he is, Devil. Guys, if you don't know who Devil is, he's a coach in the Discord. He's an absolute legend with technical analysis and good education. It's a new wave in it, says Staffer1. New wave, which one? Brazil in the house, let's go. When will you protect shorts? Relatively soon, okay? Relatively soon. Especially if we do claim that high. It would be not worth it, guys, okay? I will let the people know in the community, of course, and the Telegram, okay? It's all about new information. I will not like it if we do claim that last lower high. I need to defend my capital. I need to get out either at a small loss or at break even. Regardless if it continues down, it doesn't matter. It's not worth holding that position anymore if we claim that last lower high. So that's when I would either protect or get out, right? Because that's literally our entry point. Because I realized that this would be a possible, very, very possible bullish case scenario, which would be this one. Possible ABC flat confirmation as soon as you hit that lower high. So it's not going to be worth holding that short, because you realize how there is the chance of hitting 108.8K. Okay, so it's all about new information. You need to be very active if you are a trader and doing technical analysis, especially when you have a community. You need to be very active, always checking out the charts, the different options. Yeah, remember guys, if you are interested, you got the summer discount, which is finishing today. Reach me out right away on my Telegram, okay? I've left the direct link from my Telegram. It is the first link down below. So you can get that summer discount to join the Discord, where you have the modules, the coaches, daily updates, daily videos, screenshots of possible scenarios. You got the Telegram down below. Reach me out with a message and I will send you the discount and also access to the Telegram signals channel, guys. Okay. Yeah, man, I love Andy too. I'm always getting lost in his eyes. Much love to you, my man. Make sure to subscribe to 𝗬𝗍𝘆. There he is. You got his channel down below in the description. Absolutely epic. 𝗬𝗍𝘆 is a legend, a coach in the Legends community as well, who's providing epic updates every single day. So let's go right away with other options, because there's so many options, right? Imagine saying that this is an ABC right there, and we're going to break up, and the range is continuing and continuing and continuing. Can the range continue? Absolutely. The range could still continue, guys, and all-time high. This is just going to build up a big explosive move to the upside coming very soon. However, the range could continue. And there's only one simple tool that we need to know to realize why the range could continue. When we do zoom out on the 4-hourly time frame, we can see the lows created in April at $74,000, and we had a significant push to the upside that looks relatively impulsive. Lots of waves up, shallow corrective moves, another leg to the upside, a very strong leading move to the upside, right? And when we do analyze the timing from the lows of April to the highs of almost the end of May here, well, let's get the Fibonacci time, okay, tool right over here from the lows to the highs. And this gives us the timing of the impulsive move to the upside, right? Most commonly in a retracement or a wave 2, for example, if this is going to be a wave 1 and wave 2, you most commonly cross the 1-to-1 and even possibly extend to the 3-to-1, guys. 3-to-1 is all the way here in past September. I mean, it might seem very long, but it would still be okay. It would still be in the range of timing from the movement up, still very much symmetrical. So there is a lot of time still, a lot of time. Summers are usually boring. They're usually rangy. You like a pivot high and a pivot low, and you just have a volatility fest inside, right? And nothing's really happened. So the range could continue, right? Looking at the timing from the last low to the last high, we've only not even crossed the 1-to-1. So this correction is still 1-to-1 is leaning on the 7th of July. Still have a few days left to get to the 1-to-1, right? Usually corrections do cross the 1-to-1 at least, okay? At least the 0.382, that's fine. But mainly, most of the times, if you look at the average correction from an impulse, they usually cross the 1-to-1. More times that they cross the 1-to-1 than they don't. So just with that theory, you know that, hey, range could continue. Range could continue on the higher time frame. So especially when we analyze the different complex sideways corrective structures that could happen inside of this zone, right? So let's just zoom in on the 1-hourly time frame, okay? And then talk about other options. Other options is this one. This is one of them, okay? This is one of them that you have your zigzag move down here. We were not counting this as a 5-wave structure. There's been overlap. This is a corrective move. We ain't going to discuss that now, okay? We've been talking about this for ages. You have your first 3-wave move up in an A wave, a 3-wave move down in a B wave, and this quick sharp 5-wave move in a running flat to finish your X wave inside of a complex WXY, okay? So we are potentially still forming a Y wave. You know, this could extend, and this could be a triple, you know, sideways WXYXZ. It could still go on, guys, as mentioned, for a few weeks. Maybe not. Maybe not. There is that option of this being the low. This has been the end of the correction. Impulse, ABC flat. Off we go to all-time high. It is possible. But looking at the probabilities, you know, the range is likely to continue. So let's go right away with that option here, the one of the bearish case scenarios. If we are going to be forming a Y wave, a C wave needs to have 5 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 waves here. That could be a running flat finished move. Now we have a 3-wave structure in an ABC flat. So what options do we have for the Y wave here? We do have a triangle possibility, or we do have a flat possibility. In a flat, you need 3 waves, and then 5 waves down, right? For the moment, you have 3 waves, which is in a flat. So this is why, you know, the possibility of claiming 108.8K, this would be a little bit of a trappy zone. You know, I would be interested in this corrective move to get into the long, guys, as explained at the beginning of the stream. If we were to get that nice sign of strength, claim the last lower high, the next correction, you know, to the 50%, 618 would be my golden ticket to get into the long. There's too many bearish options here for me to get into the long on the movement down. It's too risky. I realize that we could go lower. It's just not worth it, right? As someone was saying, it's a gamble on the lower time frame. Well, in this case, for me, it would be. I do realize the bounce happening. We have the support, we have the point of control, we have you know, the anchored VWAP. You know, there's just a nice amount of support here at the 105K zone. So with this scenario, if we are going to be forming still, right, all of this ABC running flat has been your X wave, there is that chance, okay, of the price. We've got your first flat, which would be your A wave. You got a possible zigzag move up to claim the highs of the start of your A wave. You form your B wave, and then you form your aggressive move down for that flat structure. Now, this is extremely speculative, but if the price were to be moving like this in the next few days, I will realize that there could be a very, very good opportunity, you know, in this zone. You will know about this information. We will confirm it, especially on the Discord, especially on the Signals channel, right? I will let the people know when I am going long, when I'm going short, you know, just when I realize this is what I'm looking for, right? So not much could have been done in this range, guys, if I'm honest with you, right? Small little movements of $1,000, very choppy, very rangy. You basically need to be scalping this zone, which I'm, you know, not too interested, especially when I'm providing chilled signals, right? Which is like long here, the trade could last several days, even over a week to play out. So eventually, if we do get this information, this could be a flat movement inside of Y. I need all of this price action, right? I need all of this price action to confirm, right, that this could be the case. This could be the setup, right? So I'll be letting know the Signals channel or the Discord, right, once I see this information to get into that long position. Preferably also, we do get that first initial sign of strength with a nice impulsive move up, right? We maintain, we get back above the point of control, right, as a sign of strength. We reclaim levels of support, right, of resistance, you know, and then eventually, you know, there will be some signs, some proper good signs of high probability to get into that long setup. So this is one scenario that could happen. Just because we have this new information, as we do get new information, the range could just continue, guys. Range continues, range continues, range continues, right? It's just new information, new waves that we formed, right? We've got a flat right now. So we got, you know, other options. If this is a running flat, this could be another flat inside of Y. We've got 3 waves now. You just get more information on the day. But eventually this correction will come to its end stages, claiming the low or not claiming the low, right? This is this option, then there's this option, and there's just many different options that all point out that we're heading up to all-time high. All of them point out that we go to all-time high. So yeah, that's one of them also that we can label as a possibility, which is this one right over here. The most bullish one is that we've finished, you know, the correction, guys. Okay, I don't think this is the scenario that is preferred, just because the pullback is extremely shallow. If this were to be the end of the correction, a part that I do not like, this last move down, it's been very quick in timing. This pullback is still very shallow. Just about scratching the 236 Fibonacci. Preferably you do hit the 382, right? And even 50%, right, would be ideal. So yeah, it's a shallow pullback for a wave 2. If this is the end of a correction, you know, what you're looking at here is a wave 2 and then a 3 blast off. If that is the case, as mentioned, there will be a better long position, which is, if this is going to be your higher time frame wave 2 in a, you know, ABC flat shallow pullback, you're getting supported from the anchored VWAP and you're getting supported from the point of control of this entire range, right? Then if this is going to be the case, that this is your wave 2, your next, you know, what we're looking at here, legends, and this is what I discussed with 𝗬𝗍𝘆𝗽 just a few weeks ago, when we formed this price action, right, on the 23rd of June. If that is going to be the case, and this is going to be forming a wave 3 to the upside of whatever kind, okay, what we would be looking at is a nice push to the upside, and the corrective move is going to be your ticket, okay? So, you know, inside that larger wave 3, a wave 3 doesn't do this. A wave 3 does this, right? This is the zone that we want, that we are interested for confirmation. We want to be in this wave. If we do get an extra push, take out these highs, and we just go higher, we maintain that long position with stop loss protected and take profits on the way. But, you know, if this is going to be the low of the correction, and this is your wave 1, and this is your wave 2, then, you know, your third wave, if we are going to get an explosive third wave to all-time high, you know, a wave 3 has 5 waves inside it anyway. So you want to get into the beginning stages of the wave 3, which would eventually be that wave 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to be in wave 2, right? You want to get into that correction. Just like if you wanted to get into this correction, I mean, I was already in the long here, just because, you know, I was studying this zone, guys, so carefully that you know, most commonly you won't see me catching a low, okay? But in this case, for me, it was too obvious. I was screaming to you guys, you know, legit followers, you know, the probabilities in breaking down from 100K with success is just so low. It's so damn low. It's so low to break down here with success. This is the moment where a lot of people were saying 92K, 94K, you know, below 90K is coming. The probabilities were so low looking at the chart analysis. There was no sign of impulsive move to the downside. Everything was developed with 3 waves. 3 waves down, lots of overlap. It was just like, this is not a wave 3. It's not going to be a break wave 3. So I aped into long positions on several of the exchanges, guys. You know, I was very vocal about it in the signals channel, you know, very vocal of getting into catching the low. You know, giving a bit of spread here for stop loss and having some dry powder to add to the position, never more than 3%. and it was very vocal about it. It was like, yeah, this is the moment to get in, which will be very similar to if we do claim those lows, guys. If we claim 98K, which would be a present, it would be a present, guys. If we come down, to 98K, it's going to be a present. The probabilities of breaking down successfully here is as good as this one right over here. It's as good. This to break down is extremely low probable. It's going to be a golden trade. Let's leave it. It's going to be a golden trade. You want to see some support. It could be 𝗖𝗍. It could get to 94K. It could be a little bit punchy. Okay. So, depending people that are using over leverage positions, they can get wicked out. But it would be epic for a long, right? I don't know if we're going to get down there, because we have many different options of sideways corrective move. We have the bullish option, which the low is in. I don't like it too much, just because this wave is very small in time, right? The timing between those waves, which would be this one, it's being too quick, right? Usually you want a bit of symmetry between waves, right? You want the timing to be relatively similar, not the same, but similar between waves. And this one is just like push, very quick. So I'm not preferring that scenario. But the main reason why we give that option for this to be possibly finished is because we had a possible 5-wave move up, which is this one. You need to give it the option. It is, at the end of the day, a 3-wave move down. You got a low, you got a high, you got a low. It's a 3-waver. Regarding time or whatever, it's the structure is there as a 3-wave. You're in an uptrend from the last few months. You need to give the option, especially if you move up in a 5-wave structure. So ultimately, the bulls have priority, without a doubt, in this area, regardless if you take out this low or not. Bulls, looking at the reading of the structure, they have priority to take out all-time high. Right? And this is why, the people that are bullish here or want to get into longs, it is. I'm not sure how you're managing risk here, right? If you're going into a long here, I'm not sure. I'm not in a long here because, I have no clue of where I would put my stop loss. And I realize the bearish scenarios. So I can't get into a long here, guys. I cannot get into a long. I'm a responsible trader. For me, it would be very bold to say, we at support, let's just long because, we at support. No, there's so many different bearish options. I need that first leg up. I will get into the next wave up. Don't worry about that. I'm worried about you. It's the same scenario. When we did this analysis, guys, who was here when we had this analysis? I think I've got it somewhere. No, I must have deleted it already. But yeah, we did analysis, guys. Let me know in the comment section, any legit follower here, who was here when we did this analysis right over here, when we were just trading in this zone, that we just basically talk about. This is this does look impulsive, and this bounce 3-wave structure to then get another leg down. This was an epic short, epic short. Did take advantage. This was one of the best trades from May for me anyway. I did not short here. I did not short the double top. And it was on my analysis, and it was on one of my scenarios that this is highly likely going to happen, guys. And I didn't catch the high in this case. Where I shorted, which was still good enough, guys, it was a couple of $1,000 lower. This is where I shorted. And I shared the trade and everything, and I shared that I didn't short here regardless. I did take advantage of the move. And it was high probability. It was high probability to get this leg down and claim these lows, which was the overall initial target area. And then the push down just brought, a bit more profits. You will remember, guys, any legit follower will remember this range of May that was studied very, very carefully. And we realized how high probable it was to get that leg down. So Yeah, not much. You know, this is what we're looking at the moment here, guys. There is a chance of claiming 108.8k high. There is a chance. Realize that, you know, this might not be bullish. You know, if this is not the end, this could be the end of the correction. This could be the impulsive move up. This could be the three-wave corrective structure in a flat. You've claimed the lows of this range of last week. As we've claimed that liquidity, the price has a chance here in getting back into the range. Okay, so as we do get into this, you know, like I mentioned, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this. So yeah, I mean, if you want to catch the low or attempt to catch the low, this is the zone that you want to, you know, you literally want to try it and do it. Okay. So, bullish case scenario, this is your wave 2. This is your wave 1. It's still a very shallow pullback. It's only hitting the 236 Fibonacci. I mean, it is a fib level. It is support. It is the anchored VWAP from the lows of the range as explained. We are at support. It is the point of control of this entire range also. So support is there. The support is here. Just hitting the top of the volume from the volume profile. So the support is there. Bullish case scenario, you break out to all-time high with a wave 3. And we go to 115, 116. It doesn't matter. Wave 3 can be extremely explosive. This would be your bullish case scenario. Of course, inside of that wave 3, you would have 5 waves developed, right? Just as you had 5 waves developed in your wave 1 here. And this was your wave 2 right there, as you can see. So yeah, at some point you are going to find a wave 2 to get in, and that's what I would be attempting to identify to the upside here. What we need to be aware of is the possibility of this not being bullish and the possibility of forming this other scenario, okay, which is your wave W, ABC running flat to finish your X wave, range continues, and the possibility right now, as you have 5 waves to the upside in your running flat of your ABC, your wave X, possibility as all of the corrective structures inside of a WXY are formed by 3-wave corrective structures. Well, first you have your 3-wave here, which would be the flat. A 3-wave up could be an option, and this could be the trick, guys. You think that this is a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 is on the formation to claim all-time highs, and what you're forming here literally is an ABC flat to finish your wave Y, right? And ultimately, after claiming 108.8k, you do get that steep correction down to form that flat in your wave W. So it could be a little bit of a trappy zone, okay? You just need to be aware that this scenario is possible, because the bulls will say, that's it, all-time high, and the bears will say, we're going to reject, we ain't going nowhere, right? Obviously, you know, depending on, you know, people here would be, I'm very, very bullish, or I'm very, very bearish. There's many different possibilities here. It's all knowing exactly where you need to take action on your trade, right? And obviously taking action on this setup, this long is aggressive for me. We are at support. We have several options eventually to get up here. And then the conservative option is this one. Get into the corrective wave. Regardless, the highest probability, regardless if you are going to get this pullback or you are going to continue to the upside, in a 1, 2, 3, right, claim all-time highs, regardless, this is the wave that has high probability. This is the wave that has a high probability. Regardless if you come down later or go up. You just don't really know. This is what I do know. High probability is in this wave. But I don't know if we are going to get follow through here or that we are going to reject after claiming 108.8k. So that's a little bit of the discussion here. There's never too much confidence, guys. Whoever says that we're going to, it's pumping from here, long right now, right? Or short right now, this is 100% going to happen. You need to realize the different options, right? As a trader, you can never be extremely bullish, especially in a range, or extremely bearish when we're looking at local price action. You need to understand the different possibilities of how the waves can develop, right? So anyway, let's go right away. We ended I like that. This is absolutely awesome. We got somebody here saying that we ended the wave with high volume potential C wave. This is awesome. Absolute legend, whoever said that in the comment section. Somebody saying here, we ended move down on high volume C wave. Dimitri, this guy knows what he's talking about. When you have a ABC, when you have a 3-wave move, regardless if it's a flat or not, or you have a 5-wave move, if you finish on high amount of volume here, it's either very likely the initial stages of a 3rd wave, or it's possibly the end of a C wave or a Y wave. And and this is absolutely epic. Kudos to you, my man. High volume in a potential ABC flat. Very, very possible. Very, very possible. That would be eventually a good sign that this could be the end, all right, of that ABC flat, because your C wave has finished with a high amount of volume, right? Very, very common once you claim the lows of a range. Absolutely golden. Good on you, my man. Very, very possible. Yeah, that's the first initial sign. But then a confirmation sign is claiming the last lower high, because you no longer can, look at a proper impulsive move here, to the downside. The only thing here for the bears, okay, for something to happen, is looking at this as a contracting diagonal, right? This is what we were talking about. This is the only option, right, for the bears. If you were, not the most beautiful one, but it's a valid one. 5th wave is not longer than your 3rd wave, so that's already a good point. Your 5th wave is not longer than your 3rd wave. If I would say that this would be a good bullish sign, but this could still be a 3-wave structure, and then the price breaks down, right? And literally what you formed here is an ABC. That's where I do not want the people to get trapped, right? Where you just claim up the 7/8 Fibonacci, it looks bullish, and then the price starts breaking down. And eventually, at the end of the day, what you would be looking at here in this case, and this is why you're interested in getting into the 2nd wave. You're not interested in longing here. If you don't get into the first pullback of the leg up, you ain't longing late here. You're not longing close to the highs here. No, there's that risk. So it's a possible contracting diagonal. And with one of the bearish case scenarios that ultimately is my favorite one, guys. It's been my favorite one since we were inside of this triangle. Okay, it was my favorite one. And you know which one it is. It is this one right over here. Right? And of course, if that is the case, what we're looking at here is that X wave finishing in a A, B, C, D, E, and your wave X. A wave down, B wave up, double zigzag is what's happened here. Very choppy, very confusing, still very possible. And if this were to be the case, what would be happening is that you're forming your C wave of your ABC flat. Running flat or expanding flat, it doesn't matter. And of course, this could be your first leg down of your C wave, which is ultimately, finally forming 3 waves, 5 waves down, right? Because in a C wave, what you want to see inside of that C wave of an ABC flat, which is this one, A, B, C, you want to see 5 waves to the downside. And, you know, there is that risk of this movement down from here, from the highs of the last couple of days, that you are, you know, going to be forming this contracting diagonal as your wave 1, wave 2, and then very aggressive wave 3 down. And everybody's like, what's going on? I thought this was bullish. Well, it's ultimately what we're looking at is this scenario potentially playing out, right? Which is, you know, this is why it's your best option here for the long position, in my opinion, is getting that lower high claimed, first leg up, your corrective move. This is where you want a long. Once you claim the highs here, you want to protect, because this is either continuation up in a third wave, right? Continuation to the upside, claim these highs. Maybe it's a third wave. We don't know if there's going to be a lot of buying pressure, or it's actually you know, this is your wave 1, wave 2, and your wave 3, wave 4, and 5, right? To form that ABC flat. This is how you protect your capital. You take the correct decisions. You put stop loss at break even, and you end up with the account, right? In the green, right, at the end of the month. So I mean, there's many options, guys. Like I said, as there's so many options, you might think, well, which is the right one? Well, it's all when you have 2 or 3 options, and inside of the 2-3 options, this is inside of the 2-3 options. You realize that the long trade has to be taken here, regardless if it comes down or if it continues up. The long trade has to be taken here, right? Of course, there is that scenario of multiple 1-2s here, and we continue breaking down. So this is why long in here at the support is risky. This could be the initial stages of multiple 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then 3, right? And 4-5, 4-5. And you actually get that continuation down. So it's not the greatest option for the long, and especially when you realize the probability side that you know, a pullback down to the 236 Fibonacci to get a massive move up is low probability. It doesn't usually happen, right? It doesn't usually happen. You know, most commonly you do retrace, you know, 50% to the golden pocket. So yeah, I mean, that's that. Anyway, let's go. How many likes can we get on this live stream? Let's go. Like button is not that good. 194K. 𝗞𝗫 here with the power. Empire Trades, here he is back. How are you? 𝗞𝗫, much love to you, my man. I'm short from 108K. Should I take profit? Well, you know, it is not a bad idea considering the ABC flat, okay? Considering this scenario, which is not this one, it is this one right over here, more locally. It is not a bad idea. You know, I am in a short position. You know, I'm likely gonna, this is probably not going to be the best trade. I realize that I want to see continuation down. The moment we start jumping around here, claim the last lower high of today, I have to say that my short trade decreases in probabilities right now, and potentially we could be claiming 108.8K. There is that possible scenario. So I do realize that this, you know, short trade, we need to roll down. We need to continue rolling down in the next coming hours, because if we claim the last lower high, then the probabilities decrease of the price rolling over aggressively. Okay, so yeah, this actually is looking very, very interesting. You know, you've got a lot of support point of control, anchored VWAP. There is a lot going on here. So this is strong support. We cannot deny that. So if you are in a short, I would be defensive without a doubt. Okay, I would be defensive. 𝗞𝗔, my brother, Aditya also in the house. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see how many likes we can get. People do not like free education. Guy, hit the like button. Thank you very much, my man. Staffer1. Yeah, trading. I wish trading was as easy, guys. We can all just jump into a long position, guys. Very, very easy and say, yeah, this played out. All right. I know there's a lot of crypto YouTubers, right, that just constantly look to jump into longs and shorts. All right. And I like high probability setups. Okay. I like the good high probability setups that can get me that really good P&L at the end of the month. And I outperform Bitcoin numbers, statistics, right? You want to see that. Because, yeah, you can trade, get into some epic trades for a week or two, but you want the consistency throughout long term. You want to find, the sweet spot where you just get into high probability trades, right? Which is, this is what I want to teach, right? Build up your capital slowly and consistently. Only look for high probability trading setups is the ideal thing, right? If you want to trade, get into 5 trades a day, there's many channels that can do that. Empire Trades, what's going on? Let's go through comment section, see what's up. Legends. Oh yeah, I left in the pinned comment, guys, because Weeks reached out to me. All right, we got the pinned comment here in the top right. First 100 users will get $100 to use for trading. Okay. You have the link down below in the description. Weeks, okay? Free $100. You need to link your phone number because there's a lot of bots and a lot of people that do, they just register and try to get the $100. You need to link your phone, okay, to get those $100. First 100 users, and you get a 25% fee reduction, okay? Weeks reached out to me and say, first 100 users will be getting $100. Once you sign up, okay, with your phone number as well, okay, because people just create 10 emails and, register, okay, with those 10 emails, but you need to link your phone number so you have, the people, you're following the people that are getting in, right? So take advantage of that, guys, on Weeks. It's VWAP. Proper way of trading psychology. Cheers to you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you very much, my man, for that kind comment. Much love to you. It has been relatively boring, last few, 10 days almost. Really stuck in the range. I mean, this zone could get that bounce, guys. I'm going to have to be aware with the community because I do see the risk right now of the price not rolling over, right? Every day we do have new information, and this new information, if you are bearish in this zone, and I am aware of this low being claimed, there's 2 scenarios. You break down successfully, or you claim this support level, you get a nice relief, you claim the last lower high, and I understand based on the new information that, shorting right now is not the best option, right? Any shorts that have been taken in this range decrease on probability, because the bears lost their chance, for the moment at least, to break down successfully, right? So it's just, trading is not easy. You always need to be very, very active to see what's happening locally and what is the different new moves that is happening. Anchored VWAP managing to hold our support ever so slightly. The bearish momentum continues for today anyway. Till we actually hit this lower high at 107.1k. Could still be a lower high, and it's just still the bearish momentum. Once you claim that last lower high with the first leg up, like I said, you're looking for a 3-waver to the upside. Regardless if you continue up or you come down, you want to be in this long position, right? It's just simple math, as we like to say. It's building a bear flag on low time frames. Building a bear flag on the lower time frames. Yeah, yeah, there's still the highest amount of volume. Price action is very, very choppy and overlappy. You do have the chance, of course, of this being a multiple 1-2, but yeah, this could be a bear flaggy situation in your breakdown. The highest amount of volume is in this movement down, but this is when you need to zoom out ever so slightly to the higher time frames and understand an ABC. If this is going to be an ABC flat, the highest amount of volume usually ends up in your C wave, right, or your Y wave. So you need to give the bulls a chance for this to be a possible scenario. But as mentioned, I'm not interested in longing the falling knife here at the anchored VWAP. More interested in longing the sign of strength. This is the area that I'm interested in. It is quite simple, guys, when you know about it. What are your anchored VWAP settings? Anchored VWAP settings, well, it doesn't really matter. Anchored VWAP, this is the input. Anchored VWAP, comes as default, right? Anchored VWAP is only used on higher time frame pivots, okay? So you got the anchored VWAP tool right over here in the left. Anchored VWAP. This is on the pro section, of course. You need the pro on Tradingview, right? This doesn't come with a basic Tradingview. And you need to take the higher time frame pivots. Anchored VWAP can be placed from here, from here, from here, from here, right? From higher time frame pivot highs and lows. Okay? And the settings were just shared. Let's continue through the comment section, see what the people are saying. Let's get that like button absolutely destroyed, guys. I'm just going to get a sip of water and I'm going to do a little bit of comment section. There is some bullish news, a lot of bullish news. There we go with the German chicks from Oktoberfest. Mark Deutsch knows about that. Breaking news, Deutsche Bank will launch a crypto custody service in 2026, guys, and many different bullish news that we've seen in the last 24 to 48 hours. There's always bullish macro news on Bitcoin as sign of adoption, which is very, very nice to see. No ceiling for the price of Bitcoin. Hi Andy, really appreciate what you're doing. Could the wave from June 23rd be a third wave move up with the ABC correction wave 4 possibly ending now, followed by a wave 5 to the upside? Right. From the 23rd of June be a 3-wave move up. A 3-wave move up. Could the wave from the 3-wave move up from the 23rd of June? Yeah, let's go with that analysis right away from the 23rd of June. Yeah, I mean, from this higher low. Okay. Yeah, let's do that from scratch. Okay, let's do that from scratch. But I think you are talking about this, possibly, right? Something like this. There is only one problem with this, and that is the symmetry of the movement, right? If you look at your wave 3, it is extremely longer than your wave 1, okay? Preferably, you want to see the waves having some kind of time, symmetry, right? You don't want to see a wave that is 4 or 5 times longer than your previous wave, okay? So that only decreases probabilities, right? If something is if a wave is too long compared to your first wave in timing, you probably, that's probably not the right count, okay? Your count is probably inside of this area, right? So it's just something to take into consideration. Timing is important, okay? It's not an invalidation ever, but it's very, very important to take into consideration on the wave. So if we are discussing this wave 1, which you have an ABC flat here, there's no other way to count it, finishes on the 23rd of June at 8 a.m. Central European time, and then we go to the end of the correction. This right over here on the 26th of June is already 5 times longer, which is already too long, right? So yeah, if you are counting all of this as your wave 3, it's more than 10 times longer than your wave 1. So it's probably not the right count. Okay, usually it is, you know, in between 1 to 1 and 2 to 1 is most common, but you need to cross the 382 timing from the wave and try and be before the 4-5 to 1 is already extending too much in timing, right? So if you are counting this as your wave 3, you have a time problem right now, right? Your wave 3 is like, ugh, it's a little bit too long, right? So that, you know, it does decrease the probability for the correct count. Okay, so I think that was the question right over there. I'm not a German, I know. Yeah, I know that, my man. But I was just looking at the chick. Nothing to do with Germans. I'm trading 1 hour chart over the bot and RSI. I have the 𝗖𝗍𝘂𝗿, but I didn't get mine for some reason. Okay, do you have, guys, any more questions? Any more questions that you want me to discuss? We'll do a little bit of a Q&A session. I've explained many of the scenarios that could happen. Want to be aware of the bullish case. I'm happy to hold the longs. It would be interesting. I'm still interested in a possible short if we do claim 109K. If we do claim the highs in the next couple of days, I would be interested in a swing failure pattern, considering the other scenario that could happen, which is this one right over here, where you are forming an ABC flat, okay, to finish your larger complex WXY. I would still be interested in a liquidity grab SFP from the highs, local highs of the last few days at 108.8, even 109, okay? If we do take a look at the liquidity map, here, there is significant liquidity, all right, to the upside. So 109K, there's a lot of liquidity, right? Lots of stops and liquidations are hiding, right? They are hiding in this area. And when there is a liquidity grab, there is usually some kind of a pullback. So I am interested in a short here on an SFP. I will let the community know. I will let the Discord. I will let the Telegram signals channel when I'm entering my next short or when I'm entering my next long, guys. And if you want to follow that, you can hook me up right away, okay? Send me a message to my Telegram down below, direct message to me to give you that discount for the Discord, where you have everything, modules, updates, and we also get you into the signals channel, okay? You need to follow some steps to get in there. It's basically getting registered in one of the exchanges, and we'll hop you into the signals channel. My VWAP did not touch for some reason. Okay, yeah, probably ever so slightly. Yeah, it depends on what exchange as well. Depends on what exchange. It might differ ever so slightly. What are your thoughts on DCA ladder down to 100K? Yeah, I mean, yeah, DCA, depending, I mean, there could be a swing trade DCA down to 100K. I mean, ultimately, any movement down here for me, or, you know, regardless spot or a very low leverage swing trade where you're risking 1%, 1%, and 1%, depends on your strategy. But yeah, you know, buying Bitcoin in this range of the correction and taking profits at all-time high, which, you know, might not be too much unless you're leverage trading and you're making significant gains because of that leverage trade, then it's a good option, right? DCA in, DCA out as you get to all-time high, or hold for the long term. It all depends on the strategy, but you would be making some gains here. But preferably in these small little movements, instead of spot, you want to get into some, juicy leverage trades, right? When you can make some significant more gains. But yeah, not a bad option, as most of the, but manage risk. What I'm worried about when people get into these longs and DCA, when you're using leverage, they will risk 10% of their account here. They'll put 20% here and maybe 30% here. And the price does manage to get to 94K. And, that's the moment where they're heavily underwater and they're risking 50% of their account. That's, you can DCA into a trade, but keep it still on your risk management. 1%, 1%, 1%. Instead of 10%, 10% and 20%, right? Where you're laddering into the position with more of your capital, which is extremely common, guys. I used to do this. I know you watching this do that as well, but it's just it's a recipe to end up losing, because it might be more volatile to the downside than we think. So you just always want to stay on the risk management side, right? We never know what's going to happen at the end of the day when we take a look at the charts. We can talk about high probability setups, but we never, we're not 100% right 100% of the times. So I mean, you can do this. You can do this if you manage your risk. Okay, it's totally fine. Andy, question, but shout out to you for still doing live stream with not much equipment. Yeah, my equipment is not too great. Dark face, I need a light. I got the background with a light. Maybe the mic is not extremely good. 10% each step. Yeah, this is extremely aggressive. There will be a moment, right? Down to 100K, you're risking everything. Andy also walks with his hands. You're damn right, Mark Dutch. You know me. 10% each time. That's too much. I would keep it at 0.3% each step. You're just risking too much. If the price really breaks down below 100K, then you are done, right? You're wiped out, right? So it's poor risk management. You're looking to get into a big trade, swing long position, and yeah, this is 10% is too much, my man. You will burn the account if it goes below 100K, if you're using too much leverage. Andy, why too many V-shaped recoveries lately? I don't know. A good question. It's just a very big corrective range. Complex sideways corrective range. Complex sideways corrective range. Okay, this is literally what we're doing right now, and it's all based on Elliott wave theory. It is a complex sideways corrective structure, and you are going to see V shapes, right? Look at this. You got a V shape right over here. You got a V shape right over here. You have a possible, you got zigzags, flat, zigzag, triangle. This could be a zigzag, a flat, and another flat in your wave Y. It's just a long, complex sideways correction that could extend. And obviously you form V shapes, right? It's literally the same as this, right? The same as this range. A lot of V-shaped recoveries here. A lot of V-shaped recoveries. A lot of V-shapes, 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 right? Complex sideways corrective wave. That ultimately ultimately we're looking for all-time high. As it's corrective and you're coming from an uptrend, you're literally just waiting for all-time high to happen in the coming weeks, right? So yeah, we're literally forming just a complex correction that could extend for another few more weeks. Okay, so yeah. Trump tweet, pump. Trump tweets again, dump. Last 3 years, BTC pumped early July before retracement of 10%. Do you think it will repeat this cycle? I mean, yeah. This is very. You never know. You never know. Early July, before retracement of 10%. Do you think we'll repeat the cycle? Early July last year, we did pump. Somebody's saying here in the comment section. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we did pump, but then we dumped. And we are, look how long this range continued, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think the months doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I'll be back in August, says 𝗬cie. Much love. You are right about that. Very aggressive and not for everyone. I'm glad you teach restraint. Thank you very much, my man. Yeah. Andy, thank you very much to share us knowledge. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Eric, much love to you, brother. Yeah, not much more that we are going to discuss here in the price action of Bitcoin. I have several scenarios that I have explained here throughout the streams. I will be letting know the Signals channel or the Discord if I am taking action. Of course, you do have 𝗬𝗍𝘆𝗽 and the rest of the coaches that are providing you got researchers here in the Discord, Bitcoin analysis, altcoin analysis, advanced setups. You got research also, which is telling you all the different news articles that are coming out, which are bullish, also technical analysis. You got all sorts in the Discord with the modules. Make sure to reach me out in the Telegram and I will give you the summer discount. Today's the last day, guys, okay, to take advantage, to take your trading to the next level. Reach me out on Telegram right away. It's my direct, Telegram down below the first link, Legends, I'm going to wrap it up today. Thank you very much for joining. Remember, the first 100 users for weeks get $100 if you link your phone number. Trade safe, smash up the like button. Several options that could play out here. I am leaning, that the bearish case is possible. If we are going to see a bullish case to claim 108.8K, we need to claim the last lower high, higher low, boom, in the trade, right? Stay safe, trade safe. Much love to everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.